recording.
then I guess you could rip the audio from it.
Yeah.
And if
Well,
my audio is too bad, I don't know. Sometimes this mic is a little bit sketch. So
that's cool. I'm using a Beats pill. Well, but also since now we're recording, but like to whoever is watching this, if anyone is, welcome to our podcast.
yeah, welcome to the Alex. We need to figure out a name, dude. Besides the Alex
Yeah.
Kush, right?
Hey, that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So I had this idea. I want to know what you think about it. So we could like try and compete in some like really competitive category or some really competitive name, right? Like people with like interesting thoughts about things or whatever, or like people talking about gossip or any of that shit. But I was thinking, like, I remember I looked up like Winston-Salem on like YouTube and on TikTok and like hashtag Winston-Salem and all that stuff. And the top few videos on there were only like a few thousand views, like 4,000 views, like at max 20,000. And I was looking at that and I was like, you know what? We can beat 4,000 views on TikTok. And I feel like we get pretty close. Like we could beat a lot of the videos on YouTube. So I don't know what we would name it, but I'm thinking in terms of marketing and branding. Like, what do you think about choosing something around the fact that we're from Winston-Salem? And we
No,
can
that sounds good.
talk
Yeah,
about-
because I mean, there's not a lot of stuff out there. I don't know of anything for Winston-Salem people specifically.
Yeah. And then the idea is that like people find it and they're like, oh, like this is something I can relate to, and like no one ever talks about Winston.
Right, right.
So
Fair point.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I like that idea.
All
I
right.
think
But then like
we would need to name it something related to Winston in that case, right?
yeah. Do you have any thoughts like off the top of your head?
I haven't thought about it. Did you have any ideas?
I didn't. I was just gonna open it up. I was like, this is content.
All right. Well, this is
Quality
content. Yeah.
content right here.
So I think maybe like I don't know the Winston-Salem something. Salem Salemites. Salemite.
Camel City chain smokers.
The Camel City name.
Full authentic right there. Textile camel cigarette smokers.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. Tough question. I think for one, once I stop eating, I think I'll turn around and face the other way because I have a desk right here. But if I can find something to put the computer on, then I'll have like better lighting because right now it's like behind me and that's awkward. You know what I mean?
Is your setup just your laptop right now?
Yeah. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
So I didn't see the problem was I was gonna use my like headset that I use for school, but I left it in the dorm because I was like, oh, I won't need that because I won't have Zoom classes. So like I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah.
But because I'm guessing my audio is not good, right?
Yeah, I think I was looking it up and it seems like that's like the biggest problem that people have with podcast, or like the only thing that people say you need to invest in for a podcast is like a mic setup.
Yeah, no, I'll get one.
Yeah. Although I don't have one either. I'm using this. So
Oh, but I didn't know that had a mic on it. That's funny.
yeah. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it works, you know, see if it works, then it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should be able to pick up a USB mic or something. Maybe I'll go to Best Buy. Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, things to talk about in Salem. Maybe like I mean, I think there's a lot of like there's a lot of stuff to talk about with Winston, right? You could do like local news or something.
Yeah. And just
I
to
guess
let everyone else know, we don't gotta like just pigeonhole ourselves to just Winston-Salem things. That can
Okay.
just be like the branding behind it. That like
I gotcha.
we have
Yeah.
these interesting conversations and centered
So things
around.
that are somewhat relevant to life in Winston, maybe. Right?
Yeah. Like we can like because like the thing is like you tune into the podcast and it's like we could be talking about literally anything that's interesting, but then all of a sudden we mention like Wake Forest Medical Center, and then you're like, oh shit, I know where that is. That's from like the
Right.
from that no one talks about.
Right.
Like now I want to listen.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I'm
Yeah,
not.
speaking of which, Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center is now vaccinating the employees for COVID. So that's interesting.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
that could be future content. Yeah, talking about, I don't know. I think it'd be very interesting to do like an ethics of like COVID vaccine distribution, just like a discussion of that. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd be down to talk about that, except I just actually no, that is an interesting discussion. Are you
It's
gonna
an
get
interesting
vaccinated?
discussion. And I think I need to do more research. So maybe that's like a next time discussion because it's not going to go away for a few months, right? Like that's going to be a hot topic for a few months at least.
That's true. But if we just
Um,
had like the stupid like the uninformed, like skeptical,
yeah, exactly.
like the
Everything on here is like casual, like philosophical discussion. You know what I mean? None of it's going to be like formal anything. So,
yeah, I'd be down
like
though.
maybe we'll Google a
I
few
would
facts or something. Have an idea.
yeah. No, that's
Just
I think
totally off base.
that's a good one. That's one that everyone's talking about now too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Have
Well,
you seen oh go ahead.
I don't know. I haven't heard a whole ton of discussion about it. I don't know. Not as much discussion as I would have thought I guess.
Yeah. I just know because when you said that I thought there's a podcast by you know who Logan Paul is?
No, I don't watch podcasts at all.
Okay, well I mean he's like just like a big YouTuber. Like he's like
Okay.
probably the most made fun of, but also maybe the most popular YouTuber. Not in terms of
Okay.
number of subscribers, but just this big YouTuber, right?
By
And
participation,
like
yeah, my channel activity. I get it.
yeah. And like he has a like a podcast that he does, which he calls like the number one podcast in the world with like three of his friends. I don't know if it's actually the number
Wow.
one podcast in the world. I don't think it is, but it ranks somewhere up there. It's called like
Yeah, well,
Impulsive.
if it's up there, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like it's three of these guys. None of them
Hmm.
are like, or none of them seem super informed. Like I don't know how informed they actually are. Like I think they're just as informed as like you or me.
Hmm.
But they always like end up talking about these like in their podcast, they always end up talking about like these big topics like COVID and stuff. And then like they get into like these discussions of how like you're gonna get microchipped if you get the vaccine, and the other guy's like, no, you're an idiot, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna get the vaccine, like, and like rationalize like I don't know. I was I was going somewhere with that, but I just forgot where I was going with it. But anyway, when you mentioned the COVID vaccine thing, I thought of that podcast episode.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting you're talking about it. I guess I'm not. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, or
Yeah,
so I'm not informed about that. um,
yeah,
but I would say that yeah, I think that talking about timely things is definitely a interesting and b like will attract viewership, right? Like people want to hear about hot topics that a lot of people don't want to discuss. Does that make sense? Um,
oh yeah, yeah. No,
right.
I
I mean,
100% agree with that.
um, controversial, but not so controversial that people are going to go to war over it. You know what I mean? Controversial, like I don't know. I think that addressing concept like topics that are like controversial enough to be interesting, like there are two sides, but not controversial enough to be like um the only way. Like one side is like both sides are like fuck you, fuck your family, fuck your cow, right? Like it's like what I mean. Like I think that having discussions about controversial things that are discussable without like people getting up in arms, if that makes sense, because then you're alienating one group or another, right? Or both if you walk the middle line, which is always the worst idea, right? Like you
Yeah,
you gotta pick a side, right? Or else you piss everyone,
yeah.
right?
It's always about the marketing though, with these guys. Like, because the thing is like part like in part like you have to like not get canceled,
Yeah,
but then like
exactly.
the other part of it is like people like will listen to things that piss them off, or that like they'll like listen and share things that like sound crazy or piss them off or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's
Hmm.
like that's like the tightrope you're always walking, because like in order to have like good marketing and have people share your clips and like remember who you are, like they have to like at some consistent rate like look at your content or look at a clip you put out there and go like what the fuck, like either fuck these people, I'm going to share this with my friends, or like this is like
Interesting.
I don't know, it's one of those, it's like there's a line between like you're trying to balance not being canceled, but at the same time like people only pay attention to like provocative stuff from like a marketing perspective.
And like I said, I think like by addressing things that people feel strongly about, right? That like people are gonna have ideas about, right?
Yeah.
Again, like it doesn't need to be like you're gonna for instance, like right, I would say it's relatively clear that Biden won the election, right? But I don't think we need to have a topic on that because, like, for one, you're gonna piss off 20% of your users, right? And for the other, like, it's clear, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I don't know what to say about it except for like,
Yeah.
well,
No, you're
not
right.
right.
I
So
guess
like
I
things
was
like that, right? Or so, for instance, you would talk about abortion, right? And like, right, like it'd be hard to do a segment on that just because like either you're going to be swayed by the fact, like by uh, unborn babies are people and should be treated as people, and killing them is murder, or you're not going to be persuaded by that argument, right? Because you
yeah.
don't fully fledged people like that, right? You're taking more of a biological approach, and um, the problem there is, right? I mean, like I guess you could do that. I don't know. It just seems like there's not much of a discussion to be had, right? Like when
Mhm.
people want to start screaming about it, it feels like there's not a discussion to be had.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. Like we need to like yeah, you're right. We gotta like plan so we have topics that we can
But like
discuss.
interesting and controversial, but not things that people want to beat each other over, right?
Yeah. I
Like
guess so the
talking
point that I was
about, so for
making,
instance, ethics of COVID vaccination is a really interesting topic and very important. I mean, arguably more important than like abortion now, because clearly that's not changing in the immediate future, right? But like, it's a very relevant topic to our current situation. People are going to have strong feelings about it, right? They just aren't so firmly entrenched in their view versus the other side's view, right? That it's like a static front, right? Like we can weigh in on it and say, well, this is kind of what this is how I think it should be done, and right, um, people are flexible to changing what they think, right, or like interested in what other people have to say about it, right?
yeah. Yeah, no,
Whereas like
you're
I feel like it's a
definitely
lot of issues like people have already picked a side and don't want to hear someone talking about something else. I don't know. So I think that the trick is to find topics that will be interesting and that people would be willing to like think about, if that makes sense, right? Without being too insanely pissed off, right?
yeah.
I don't
No, yeah, I think you're right. Like that's just what we gotta find. And I think the other thing too is like I feel like it's just kind of important to like look at the whole thing as kind of like one big experiment. Because like in reality, like
know. Oh yeah,
the only way that we know what people want to listen to is like we start testing things and then see what clicks and what doesn't.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Well, I mean, at first we have to just like find. First of all, we have to be entertaining, and I would suggest like maybe for our first few videos, maybe be a little bit crazier. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, no, that's right.
Like,
That's what a lot of people say. Like you want to be 200% yourself in the
right.
beginning. But so I guess just two things really quick. So
Yeah.
earlier when we were talking about the provocative stuff, I was going to mention like when you mentioned that, my mind kind of went off into the marketing. So I have two things to say about that. One
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of wrapping up on my first point there. So like for example, like with the provocative stuff for marketing, um, like that same podcast, like Impulsive, a couple weeks ago, they had like a discussion that grew their like viewership a lot, and like it was like the whole discussion was around like Harry Styles being on the cover of Vogue. So he
Mm-hmm.
was in a dress on the cover of Vogue, and then Logan Paul
Is he gay?
described no, but he was just on a dress with finger paint on cover of Vogue because that's like fashion. Um,
Interesting.
I don't understand fashion, so I can't really comment on it. But that's just what it was. And so like
Both, man.
they were talking about it. Logan Paul, like again, the internet loves to hate him. And it was kind of funny because he was the one that was defending Harry Styles, and so all of like the blue haired people were, like they were like, wait, Logan Paul isn't like he isn't bashing Harry Styles for wearing a dress, except his friend who's one of his co-hosts like was like, oh, like if you go like on the cover magazine wear a dress, it's like not manly, and then that like triggered a bunch of people, and then they started like sharing that clip around of like his friend being like, oh, like it's not manly to like wear a dress or whatever as a guy, and then
I mean that.
it helped. It was
Yes.
like it was like a huge like marketing thing because like the clip got shared so many times, so many people went and watched the podcast, and then the viewership grew. So that was just I guess that's more so like what I mean by like the provocative stuff. And then the second thing also related to that that I was going to discuss is with the marketing. Like I know a lot of times with these video podcasts like Joe Rogan or Impulsive or like whoever, like the way that they've done their marketing is like they'll record their full like hour and a half long podcast or whatever, and they upload it, and they all say like the same thing for like the key to success is like just in general, it's just like consistency and like uploading the same like length of content like at
Right.
on like the same like day like every week for like years,
Right.
and that's just
Right.
the key.
Mhm.
But like when it comes to the marketing, you see like a lot of what those guys have done is they use clips, like clips from like different like interesting moments in the podcast, and they'll
Mhm.
upload those. So like Joe Rogan did it more long form with YouTube, where he would take like five,
Oh,
10 minute clips. And
yeah.
that way when you see the clip isn't like a whole podcast that's just called
Right.
like Joe Rogan's interview with someone. The
It's just
clip
an
is like,
interesting.
yeah, the clip is like Bob Lazar proves aliens are real, and then you click on the clip and you're like, oh shit, I need to watch this whole thing.
Right.
But
Right. That makes sense.
the in like the whole world of like social media marketing now, there's been like a big development with like those kinds of clips, which is TikTok. And the
Yeah.
thing is with TikTok, it's like built like first of all, TikTok knows what you want to watch. So if we put like hashtag Winston-Salem up there, everyone from Winston-Salem was a TikTok is going to see it because they're using
Right.
some crazy ass technology. But number
Right.
two, like TikTok is like built to make content viral because each piece of content is it's like as long as like a human attention span. Like that's how they've engineered the app. So the
Yeah.
way that you go through it is once your attention span is done with one thing, there's the next piece of content to capture your
Right.
attention. So you view a ton of content. And
Right.
so like since you're viewing so much content, like almost anything can go viral because people are viewing way more content on there than they are on YouTube or Instagram or whatever.
Right.
And
Because
so
it's 10
like
second videos or whatever. How long are they? 10
yeah,
seconds?
it's I think it's 15,
15?
but there's podcasts now that have started using TikTok and they'll post 15-second clips of the conversation on TikTok,
Hmm.
like just the most interesting points. And then
Yeah.
it'll like cut off obviously after 15 seconds. Then you're like, wait a second, I got to hear the rest of that. And then you
Right.
go find the YouTube. And
Yeah.
then,
No, that sounds interesting. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So that was another thing I wanted
Easy
to
editing to
discuss.
do too. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good. Do you have a following on TikTok? I don't even have an account.
I don't know if I haven't post, I don't post, but
Okay.
I'm thinking I mean, I think that's like something we can discuss, like how we want to use that. But I'm thinking that the social media marketing is like our
Yeah,
main
for sure.
form of marketing.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think that's the way to go. Um. Now, so we talked about the content we want to do. We've talked about how we want to promote it. Um. Length.
That's a good one. I,
I think anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour would be fine by me. I think going over an hour is like too long, and going under 30 minutes really doesn't give you much time to talk or time to like get to interesting stuff, right?
yeah,
Um,
we've been talking for
you do
24.
like a 15-minute podcast, like it's hard to find a good 5-minute clip or 10-minute clip out of a 15-minute podcast, but a 30-minute podcast, right? You can definitely find at one point where you had an interesting 5-minute discussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
So
think you're right. I think the hour like upper bound though, like are you
yeah,
saying an hour because like you feel like that's like a good like amount of time to commit to, or are you saying an hour because you feel like no one would watch past an hour?
both.
Okay, because I
I
was
feel
gonna say
like
for the second one, like a lot of these like a lot of most of them are an hour, like Impulsive's an hour,
yeah.
and I don't know, I
Like
don't
going
watch
over an
them.
hour is like an awkward unit of time too, right? Because like then like no, some poor guy's got to decide. Okay, well I want to watch this podcast for an hour, right? Like that's a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like, but if it's
Yeah,
like 90 minutes, like God, that's like forever, right? But like 40,
yeah,
okay, like like you can waste 45 minutes. You know what I mean? While watching a video, that makes sense,
yeah.
right?
I was gonna
Like
say,
just
I
once you
think
get over an
Joe.
hour, it's a major time commitment.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I think Joe Rogan's though. I was just thinking of stuff that's out there. I think his are like way longer. Like
Oh
I think
really?
his go like some of them go like 2-3 hours.
Well, he's like
Listening.
he's massive. He does a bunch of stuff.
He's the biggest on YouTube in terms
Yeah,
of
he's
podcasts.
so like he can probably kind of do whatever he wants to do, right? He's almost like the Joe Rogan show at this point, right?
I mean, it's literally the show is called Joe Rogan Experience. Oh, did you get
yeah,
that?
like he's kind of
Yeah,
got, you know,
3 hours and 49 minutes was his last one.
yeah, he's a one-man enterprise, and people are gonna tune in and tune out like they watch a news show, right?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think
and
that's
these are
wrong.
all with celebrities. Like if I look at like the ones that are popping up, like Elon Musk, Kevin Hart, Post Malone,
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, Dr. Phil, Steve-O. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have something we can talk about.
Yeah.
Have you been following YouTube boxing?
Nope. Is that a thing?
Yeah. So it's been a thing since 2017. You remember, were you watching YouTube during the diss track era in 2015 and 16?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
watched it on. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So
Watching YouTube, but I was on it.
yeah. So like back then, so that was the diss track era. Right after that, when we were seniors in high school, like the boxing era of YouTube began. So like
Right.
again, Jake and Logan Paul, like I mean, I'm not saying that I hate them, but they're like in general like the internet's most like hated brothers. And so like they started boxing everyone. Like this guy who plays video games in England, like he's a huge YouTuber also. His name's KSI. Like they boxed him, like Logan, the older brother, boxed him, who's an older brother, and his younger brother Jake boxed that guy's younger brother named Deji, and it started this whole rivalry. And then
What
the
do you mean
boxing
box?
trend.
Like, what is that? Does it mean like you diss him or what? I'm confused.
No, like full pay-per-view boxing match, like in a
What?
big ass stadium. Yeah, like I think so. This
Did you
boxing
just
trend
square it up?
continued. Yeah, no, like a whole like a proper like boxing like a proper like sports event like in a sold out arena. Like it's like a whole big like pay-per-view type deal, right? And so the boxing trend never went away. And the younger
That's
brother,
wild.
like Jake Paul, do you know who Nate Robinson is from the NBA?
Yeah.
He just knocked out Nate Robinson a few weeks ago. They had a boxing match on pay-per-view. He's like now Jake Paul, the YouTuber, is the
Yeah.
seventh. Like I think he said something on his channel. He's like the seventh highest paid like prize fighter or something in the world now. Like this a YouTuber. And here, hold on, let me
That's
find this
hilarious.
video. So
As long as I don't have to box anyone, because I do not know how to fight, dude.
yeah, no, but here I'm getting to the crazy part. So the older brother Logan Paul, who lost to the guy who plays he lost to KSI, who's the guy from England who plays video games. He lost
Yeah.
to him once and he tied with him once, right? That's the
Mhm.
guy who plays video games in England. And guess who he just landed a fight with?
Who?
It's on February 20 something. Floyd Mayweather, 50-0 boxer.
He's gonna get killed.
That's what I'm saying. And okay, here, look at what his younger brother just posted on the
Is he like
internet
he's a
about.
skinny dude, right? I'm assuming he's like a skinny, nerdy looking guy, right?
Oh, and Logan Paul is mad. He's like 6'2", like maybe like 200
Oh,
pounds. He's
oh,
he's
never mind then.
jacked as fuck. But
All
like here,
right, never mind. I just
yeah,
assumed he's like a
he's got
British
like
guy who
50
played video games.
pounds.
I just didn't think he'd be huge. That's funny.
Dude, okay, here. I'm gonna share my screen really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Our video is gonna get claimed by Jake Paul. Doesn't matter. We don't have any viewers anyway. Okay. So look at this shit that Jake Paul sent to fucking Conor McGregor. All right.
Oh God.
Watch this shit. Can you hear the sound?
No, but it's okay. I kind of get the gist. He's sitting in the car.
No. You have to
Is that
to
an
listen to
Irish
the sound.
flag?
No, it's not. Conor McGregor is Irish. Hold on. Let me share my screen with the audio. Wait, can you not hear the audio at all?
Like really, really faintly. I think what's happening is like when you have your mic on, right, and then you like whatever sound comes out of your speakers is canceled like automatically by the program, because like otherwise I'd like have a feedback loop with my voice being played over your speakers. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. I thought Zoom stopped.
up.
Like I thought Zoom shared the audio through the. I don't know. I don't know what's. Anyways, here. Wait, see if you turn it up on your end, can you hear it?
I mean, it's all the way up. You're all the way up. Well, he appears to be. drinking whiskey and talking, but I can't hear what he's saying. Text me. He just put his number there. Oh, does this dude really have $50 million? I have my doubts.
Yeah. That's his house behind them.
Oh man, that's a big house. Jesus. Damn, dude, I need to become a British gamer. Clearly, I'm doing it wrong. Physicist? Nah, dude, British gamer.
Yeah. Dude, here, let me show you his knockout though of like Nate Robinson.
Oh my god.
This was insane. He knocked him out in like a minute and 30 seconds.
What?
That shit was crazy. Here, how long is this video? All right, a minute 8. Let me get to the knockout. This is I have to share this with someone who's never heard about it.
Dude's okay.
Look at that. That's Nate Robinson.
Well, he does not have a fight.
No, he's been training for 6 months. He's been
Apparently
training.
not well.
This was pay-per-view. This was like a huge fight.
It just seems like such a meme.
Yeah, this was a meme. The baby started doing like they people were making jokes that like he took like his black card because like the baby he was hanging out with the baby and all these rappers and stuff.
My god.
Yeah. But yeah, that's okay. I just had to share that like these are like YouTubers who are like boxing now. And they're boxing like Floyd Mayweather, like Jake Paul's trying to go after like with Conor McGregor.
That's hilarious. All right, Kush. So here's the plan. I'm gonna let you handle the boxing side of the enterprise, and I'm just gonna not.
Yeah. Yeah. We could. Yeah. Anyways, it was unrelated, but I had to share.
I think that's good content right there. That's very high quality content.
Yeah, I didn't make it. Jake Paul did, but I stole it.
I mean, I think you're allowed to talk over someone's YouTube video, right? And like I'm pretty sure that's not a copyright violation if you're like editing it and stuff for entertainment purposes. You're in the clear.
Maybe, who knows? YouTube likes to take people's money, so
You don't get demonetized or anything. Now that I don't think we're gonna be big enough to get monetized, but
yeah, I think they can claim your video and take all the revenue, but I also don't know. Like, it basically just comes down to who has the best lawyers. Like, that's the state of YouTube in 2020.
well,
But yeah,
lawyers, I don't know, but not me. I don't have any
yeah,
lawyers. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I like content like that. I like random content like that. Now if we're gonna do that, I would say that we need to have a bit more time and kind of a plan. And what I mean by, for instance, I think if we're going to do kind of fun random tidbits like that, we should do stuff like kind of have an overarching plan, right?
mm-hmm.
And so like of where stuff is gonna go. And so then we can start off with like, I don't know, some fun discussion like that, and then maybe bring it into a more like serious opinionated discussion, right?
Yeah,
That's a very like content like that's very good if it leads into some sort of like, hey, this is like I don't know, interesting.
yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
I agree with what you're saying. So I think the like conventional wisdom that's out there is usually like what people do is they just have a list of topics. And so like it's not necessarily uh like a hard stop, like 5 minutes for this, 30 minutes for that,
Oh, certainly not.
like
Certainly
only
not.
in this
No, it
order.
needs to be
But it's
organic.
usually
Well,
like this is a list of the interesting stuff that's happened. And so
yeah,
when you get to any low point, it's like you can kind of just look over at the list and be like, oh, that's the next thing.
yeah,
And just kind of flow into
sure.
that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
But
I
no,
like
I
it a
agree with
lot.
what you're saying.
So I think, yeah, no, what I'm saying is to like, I don't know, things like the know more pop culture stuff than I do. So maybe finding stuff in pop culture, right? That's like would lead to maybe an interesting discussion that we can make good content out of, right? In addition to being like using, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
possible.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's doable too.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting way to go. And I think that maybe I think that like for instance, stuff like that, right? And talking about how like I don't know, like people find stuff like that interesting, right? That like YouTubers having boxing matches, like what the hell, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You see, you didn't know about that at all.
no, I had no idea, and I'm interested
These
now.
are like these are pay-per-view. Like I said it for the millionth time, but like these are
Yeah, it's
like
wild.
real like this like the
Pretty
same
wild.
boxing that the professionals do.
What? I don't understand. I've never
Yeah.
paid for a boxing match.
Yeah.
Like I've never. I mean, I've watched. I think the most boxing I've watched, aside from like snippets, is like Rocky Balboa. Literally just the movie.
Yeah.
Like that's about the most boxing I've seen. So I know nothing about it, but it's interesting that people will pay to watch YouTubers fight. It's just kind of wild. I don't know. Not
Yeah.
something before, but it's interesting.
I don't know. On the topic of like Winston-Salem though, I was
Yeah.
thinking like I don't know, like what are your honest thoughts about the future of like Winston-Salem? Like do you think
Hmm.
it's looking up or you think it's looking down?
Well, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that article that came out a while ago from the New York Times when we were both like dissing it?
Yeah, I showed you. Yeah, yeah. It
Winston
was
Salem's like one of the worst cities and how like it's shrinking and all that. And I'm like, no, it's not. Y'all are full of shit. Like having lived here, I don't know what the economic metrics say, but I can say like confidently that Winston Salem's like trending upward pretty confidently. I don't know. Like a lot of
yeah.
opening, right? And like a lot of the areas that used to be pretty like crappy have been like really revitalized and kind of made upscale and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Trade Street and all that, right? That didn't used to be like a good area. A lot of those buildings were kind of like in Wake downtown, right? Wake downtown is huge. So I think it's going to continue growing. And I think there are a few reasons for that, right? I mean, for one, there's a lot of like biology here with the university, right, and the hospital system. And I know those are kind of the same thing, but there's like a ton of like biochemistry, biophysics, biology in general, bio research, all through downtown. You've got W Firm, which is like regenerative medicine. It's so cool, right? That's like they like grow kidneys. I actually worked there for a summer. It's really cool stuff. Like they're the people who are like trying to print like they've printed bladders and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they've implanted them in people. Like they like print out a bladder with like artificial cells and then or not artificial cells, but like your cells, and then they can like replace your bladder, right? And they're working on more complicated organs. So you've got a bunch of that sort of technological industry coming in. And that's stuff that's going to keep growing into the future, right? That's not like going to be outsourced anytime soon. That's really like cutting edge, high tech stuff. And likewise, I mean, Wake Forest is definitely growing. I mean, each year we grow like 10% or something. They're buying up all the apartments they buy. They're getting big. It's kind of weird. Like since I've gone to Wake, it's like probably added another 500 or 600 students, which is like a 10% growth, right? Like it's a lot. And then there's like, so I mean, they're going to keep pouring money in, right? You got to realize, I mean, the university is just a lot of money coming into Wake Forest from outside, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All those people aren't like already in the community, most of them, right? There aren't that many people from Winston going to Wake Forest. So it brings in a lot of money. And then there's also, of course, like businesses downtown right now. I don't know much about that. That's more your thing, right? But I don't know. You told me it seems to be a good time to be a business owner in Winston-Salem, right? Pre-COVID, at least. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, I agree with what you're saying, and like, I was just gonna play devil's advocate to make this interesting. So,
Yeah.
like, I'll preface this with the fact that like I love Winston-Salem. Like, I feel like I've talked to a lot of people about it. Definitely my parents a lot. That like, for me, like, even though right now I kind of want to go out and do things, like, I would love like once I've gone out, I've learned things, I have unique insights. I'd love to come back here and like for example, like when Winston's further along to come back here and be like a venture capitalist or something, and a lot of
Yeah, for
like what
sure.
yeah like what a lot of like our advisors are for endorse like what they've done in Durham and Raleigh and like how they've transformed those cities. Like I'd love to be one of the people that comes back here and does that for Winston. And so like I honestly I love the city. Like I'm not saying this to to try and say I don't like the city or that like I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, like first chance I get I'm going to San Francisco, never turning around. Like
Yeah, dude.
I
San
know
Francisco is not
those
great.
people.
I
I'm not
haven't.
trying to be one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah. But again, just to play devil's advocate.
go
So
for it.
I think like the one thing about the Winston Greensboro area is that like even though we've been growing, the growth rate's really slow. Like I think Winston's growth rate is like less than 5% a year compared to like Raleigh Durham, which is closer to like 17 like plus percent a year. And so like even though we're growing, like it's not
Population-wise or like GDP? Sorry. Did you
it's
population or
I think that's population, but I would imagine that if you look at the economy with Raleigh, it's probably like even more so than us too, because a lot of those people coming in, they're coming in for tech jobs. Because the whole
yeah.
the like Raleigh is like right now competitive with cities like Austin, Texas, and like Columbus, Ohio, and
Right.
Portland, Oregon, and all because it's like it's one of the cities that people are calling like the next Silicon Valley. Like it's not at that level yet, but people are saying it's poised to be the next Silicon
That's
Valley.
pushing it a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
So, but no, I'm saying the kind of growth that's happening in those kinds of cities, it's all economic growth, like also in addition to
Right.
population growth. Like I think that like Raleigh is like it has the highest number of like non-native people out of all the North Carolina cities. Like I was
Yeah.
reading
I'm
something
not
about that.
surprised.
But so okay.
Higher
Anyways,
than
I'm not
Charlotte?
gonna
That's kind of surprising, actually.
yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna go further down that path because I don't want to get into a territory I'm saying shit I don't know anything about. So I'm gonna leave that at like I just know it's
I don't
growing
know. I'm
faster.
pretty sure that's what podcasts are about, right? You just keep saying shit.
Yeah. But no, but here's my other devil's advocate thing.
Yeah.
If you look at Winston, so again, like I think that our Chamber of Commerce is doing a good job on the small business side of things. Like I've seen a lot of cool new small businesses pop up. Like I've met a lot of these small business owners here,
Yeah.
and like they're all really passionate about what they do. They're doing great business. But when you look at the big corporations, they're all leaving, and there's actually only one Fortune 500 company, I believe, that's still headquartered in Winston today. And I
Who is
think
it?
that
Texas?
that's
Is it Krispy Kreme or Texas Pete?
no, it's Hanes Brands,
Oh,
like
I
the
didn't
under.
know.
Yeah.
Forgot that we're
So
headquartered
so
here.
there used to be four major ones, right? There was
Okay.
BB&T, there
Yeah.
was Reynolds American, there was Hanes Brands, and I believe Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
So Krispy Kreme went to Charlotte. BB&T merged with SunTrust, and they moved. They're a new they're a new bank called Truist now, and Truist
Yeah.
moved its headquarters to Charlotte. So Krispy
Mhm.
Kreme, BB&T went to Charlotte, and then Reynolds got bought by a uh, um, a big British company called British American Tobacco. So
Mhm.
they're technically a subsidiary. They're not their own thing now. So
No,
now
but they
all
still
these
have their
small
whole
businesses.
university campus, right? Over by Wake. Because I run through it. They still have all their buildings there.
Yeah, but now the whole everything that used to be just Reynolds American on its own, that's now it's a subsidiary now of that company. So that
But,
so,
only,
so
but Reynolds American is still the same that it was. It's just owned by someone else, technically speaking, right?
yeah, and so yeah, basically.
But so it hasn't changed too much, right? I mean, they're still headquartered here. They're still a huge billion-dollar company. They're just a subsidiary of someone else. That makes sense.
Yeah. But I guess the
I
point
don't
that
know
I'm
how
trying to
important
make,
it is.
yeah, the point that I'm trying to make though is that like again, just playing devil's advocate,
Yeah.
that a lot of these big corporations, like we haven't really seen any moving into Winston, but we've seen all of our major ones moving out of Winston. Like I know that like Truist has said that with the BB&T operations, like they're leaving the old BB&T building here, obviously, and they're leaving whatever operations they had in it here, but they aren't planning on scaling those up. And so they're not trying to drive growth anymore in Winston-Salem through those operations. They're just kind of leaving it here for now and they're focusing their efforts on Charlotte. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, and so I see what you're saying there, and I agree that Winston-Salem probably isn't the fastest growing region, but I think that sometimes you have to look at like the quality, right? So I mean, I'm not when I talk about Winston-Salem's improved a lot, right, and like has seems to be trending in a good direction. I'm not talking about necessarily right like multi-billion dollar corporations moving into Winston. I mean, like um, you drive downtown, and instead of no one being down there after 5 p.m., right? You see a bunch of bars and people are hanging out, right? Even in COVID, maybe they shouldn't be hanging out, but they're there anyway, right? And they're having a good time. And you drive over down Trade Street, right? And you see like friggin' three microbreweries and a distillery, okay? And they all have really good beer. And then you'd go to like you drive downtown what used to be the old abandoned tobacco buildings, like tobacco warehouses that were literally uninhabited for like decades, right? Are now like a upscale university campus, right? Like Wake downtown, it's super nice in there. It's some of the nicest buildings Wake's got, and you got Bailey Park. All that was like abandoned down there. It was just like an old post-industrial, rust belt, mini rust belt in the middle of Winston, and now it's all been revitalized, right? Um, so I think that you're right in saying that a lot of these manufacturers and big companies have kind of left, but in their place, we're kind of getting smaller, more scientific-y stuff, right? So like biological stuff, biological research and stuff, and the research park down there, right? Um, it's
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I think that while certainly, like I said, Winston isn't. I wouldn't say that what I'm excited about for Winston in the future is like growth and the becoming a million, a million, having a population of over a million, right? And just exponential growth and you know being the best place to be a venture capitalist per se, but maybe more like this is a cool place to live, right? Like I like living here because it feels like it feels homey and it's not that big, right? What is it, 150,000 people? I don't even know. Not even, right? 120? I don't know. Not that
No,
big.
we're bigger than that. So our actual city population is like
Well,
240,000
Winston-Salem
people.
itself. Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so just the
Is that the
city, and
metro
if you
area or is that just Winston?
no, so that's the city. If you look at our metro population, that's like closer to 700,000. And if you
Yeah.
look at the whole like Winston Greensboro area, I think that's around 1.2 million people.
Yeah. I think we've talked about, I know you and I have talked about this,
Or no,
but I
sorry, not 1.2. Fuck, 1.6 or 1.7 or something like that.
yeah, it's huge. But I think it's kind of
Yeah.
wild. I mean, it's just a lot of area, right? And the same thing with what is it? Winston-Salem Greensboro High Point is like a really large area. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot of square miles. I don't know. I think it's kind of wild that's all considered.
Yeah. I
I
think
guess when you
the
go to Raleigh, it
reason,
seems a lot more compact, right? I mean, I guess
yeah.
I guess they count Chapel Hill. I don't know, but I mean, Chapel Hill's
Yeah.
close in Greensboro is to Winston, I think, right? It's about
So
what?
yeah. So the whole reason they have the combined statistical areas is because like a lot of times like you have economies that are connected and stuff
Oh
like
yeah, for
that.
sure.
So like
Yeah.
for example, like we live in Clemens, but like my dad works in High Point. So
Right.
like
Right.
it's all kind of connected. And
Yeah.
actually if
Absolutely.
you look at the map of all the combined statistical areas and you like zoom in on North Carolina, you
Mhm.
see that like the Charlotte combined statistical area, it borders the Winston Greensboro High Point combined statistical area. And then ours also like on the east, it borders the Raleigh Durham Cary combined statistical area. So it's
Yeah.
like three big ass like areas
Yeah.
just
Well, I
kind
was
of
gonna say yeah because I've known people who literally commute in from like Raleigh every day, or like Siler City or something
really.
way down south. Yeah, I had a professor last year who commuted in from Chapel Hill every day.
Oh, that's good. Dude, no, I have a okay. That's actually insane. I thought it was insane
Yeah.
because I had an econ professor last year who commuted in from Greensboro, and I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
that's like a 45-minute drive. Like,
I don't know how the guy was a total sticker. He was terrible. I
yeah,
wouldn't. A couple of professors I've had. My Latin professor this year was awful. We were supposed to have a quiz every Friday, and the dude had like two quizzes, and it was 40% of our grade. So I did well on the quizzes, so I didn't mind. But like a lot of people like got screwed over, right? Because like you do bad on one quiz, and there goes your grade. And then the other guy was the philosophy guy who I don't know.
yeah,
I just didn't like him. But he did drive in 2 hours to work every day, so you gotta give him respect for that. That's a lot of work. Plus, with rush
yeah,
hour, he'd be late because of rush hour. He'd have to cancel class. Be like, yeah, I'm still in my car, guys. There was an accident.
yeah,
I'm not gonna have class today. I was like, rough. But I think, and I used to when I worked at the Regenerative Medicine Institute. Um, I worked under a lady who commuted in from Charlotte every day, which is kind of wild too. Not quite as far as Raleigh, but still a ways. She's I think in the north suburbs of Charlotte. So kind of interesting.
yeah,
I don't know. I wouldn't want to drive that far every day. That's for sure.
yeah. But I will say on like a slightly unrelated but earlier point, we were talking about I don't like think that like or at least like based on what I've seen, I don't feel like you really need like a big like like when I talk about venture capital and stuff like that, like I don't necessarily mean like Winston developing into like a big like area in terms of number of people and then it's like ripe for that, or like you try to build all these startups here in order to transform it to like a big million like person, like
Right,
city.
right, right.
I'm thinking more in terms of like even if you look at like cities with smaller populations like Durham or Cary, like those cities have grown and are the way they are because of the venture dollars that move there, and then that attracting all of these startups to come and move there and get those venture dollars, and then employing people and bringing in more educated people, and then the educated like hipster people that are there want hipster like cool hipster things to do, and then you get like a cool city with a cool vibe and like lots of
Right,
ideas
right.
and creativity and like that. Like I feel like if I could do something in the future, like if I like again going back to me personally, like if I could like be able to like influence the city in that direction, like contribute that
Yeah.
to here, that would be like a really cool thing to
Yeah,
do
I would love
for Winston.
a more vivacious downtown and more, like you said, hipstery stuff to do.
Yeah, it'd be like innovation quarter, except not just biotech. Like it'd
Right, right.
be
Yeah, innovation quarter
a
is a little
bunch
bit
of
nerdy.
yeah,
Yeah, and it doesn't really, and I think innovation quarters helped a lot. Like I think that
yeah,
the development of that has definitely kind of gone hand in hand with kind of Winston's downtown recovering from the post industrialization, with all the tobacco moving out. I mean, I think that definitely. Now I wasn't around at the time, but
oh
I
yeah,
remember I came here probably 30 years ago now, and they said, I mean, no one used to be downtown, right? You don't go down there at 5 o'clock and it was a ghost town, right? And that just isn't true. You can walk down. I think you probably have more activity down there now at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. than you did at 5 p.m. back then, right?
oh yeah,
Just because, like, again, the city's really moved in a different direction from its industrial past, and I don't think necessarily, I think it's a good direction. I think it's, like you said, more hipster, more educated, right? Less factory worker and more lab technician, right, so to speak.
yeah, and
And
the,
of course lots of small businesses, which is really nice too.
yeah,
That chain dominated area, if you know what I mean, right? You don't
yeah, those always suck. But
Yeah,
the other thing too, like no one talks about it with innovation, like so like whenever anyone thinks of like research parks in like North Carolina, the one everyone thinks of obviously is like Research Triangle Park in Durham. But
mhm.
like I feel like Innovation Quarter, it's like it's not at that level yet, or at least I don't know, maybe it is, but it's definitely not known at that level yet.
No.
But the thing is, like Research Triangle Park, like it's not like in a downtown area. Like it's kind of like out in its own thing. I think the difference is with like Innovation Quarter is that like it's in like a downtown area. So it's like around like it's like in an exciting place where there's like a bunch of stuff happening around it.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's what makes it
you
really
can literally walk downtown from like downtown. It's like a half mile, maybe mile walk right
yeah.
down, like straight in the heart of downtown. So
Oh yeah.
it's really nice location. And that's
And
the
I
nice thing
think
about small cities. It's almost navigable on foot. You know what I mean? Like you can
yeah,
walk
kind
from
of though.
search.
Like
Well,
okay, imagine like even if
the
you
fun
lived in
parts of the
downtown.
downtown is right.
No, no, okay, imagine like you live in downtown. Like those new apartments
Yeah.
they built right next to Bailey Power Plant, like the
Hmm.
brand new hella like the most expensive ones. Like
Hmm.
imagine you live there and you didn't have a car and you want to
Hmm.
go to Costco. How the fuck are you
Oh
gonna get to
God!
Costco?
Hold up! You would not go to Costco. Period.
Yeah.
No way. What you would do is down your stairs out of your apartment and all the way to downtown, up whatchamacallit street, and then go to the convenience store up there, the Washington Perk.
Okay.
They have a little grocery store, and they have probably you could probably live off of what they have there. It wouldn't be great. Now they don't really have a grocery store down there. You'd have to go over to Stratford. I think is the closest one, and I don't think you want to walk there. You could bike, take a
Yeah.
little.
But I'm
No,
just saying, imagine
so
being confined to that. You know what I'm saying?
oh gosh, yeah. No, I agree. But I mean, if you're living downtown in a city without a car, I mean, you're probably going to be eating out a lot anyway, right? I think that's kind of part of the lifestyle. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a walkable city, but you could get by with a zip car or something, or a bike and good strong legs. Okay, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, because I think that, I don't know. I think that it's interesting that Winston's become that way. And I wouldn't personally mind living that way, although I would want a car to go to the grocery store. I think you're right about that. It is kind of a food desert down there. Lots of take
Yeah.
and no actual grocery stores.
I mean, even
Maybe,
beyond that,
maybe
like
there's maybe
it's
there's one I
it's
don't know
just
about.
yeah. I just it's just too like it's not a big enough downtown. I feel like that I would just be comfortable like being there all the time, and then having it be so inconvenient to go somewhere outside of that. Like for example,
Yeah.
even with Charlotte downtown, like Charlotte's not like it's not the biggest downtown in the country, but it's still like big enough to where like you could live there. It's exciting. There's always stuff happening
Yeah.
around you. Whereas like Winston, it's not set up like that. Like I can't just be living in downtown and like walk to LJVM or bike
Right.
to like like the
No, I
movie
agree.
theater or something like that. Like
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
so
I'd
much
say
stuff
I'd
in
say
downtown.
Charlotte's. You got to realize Charlotte is what, like 6 times bigger than Winston. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that kind of downtown is more like I could
livable.
live there without a car, but in
No, I agree.
Winston
Yeah, absolutely. You're
I
right.
need a car.
Winston Salem's a little bit more of a really big suburb feel. You know what I mean?
It's like it's
It's
a
a really
big
big
town feel.
suburb. Yeah.
That yeah.
Really big
I think that's what
suburb.
everyone likes about it, or everyone who
Yeah,
lives
it's
there
the
likes
nice
about
thing,
it.
you know. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's really nice to live here just because you can, I mean, you're, right here on Clemens, right? I'm right on the edge of the country, right? If I drive for 5 minutes in the wrong direction, I end up in Tractorville, right?
Yeah.
And if I drive for 5 minutes in another direction, I end up in Winston. It's kind of a sweet spot.
Yeah. You go to the east, you start seeing Biden signs. You go to the west, you start seeing Trump signs.
Exactly,
That's what
exactly.
Clemens is like.
No, no, no. It's like there's this guy living off of Louisville Clemens. I
Near my neighborhood, right? Are you talking about
every
that guy?
time I see it. Who is it?
Are you talking about the guy? He's like right next to the turn into my neighborhood.
No, 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 no,
He
no.
has like a Mustang parked in his driveway.
No, I'm not talking about that guy. So there's a guy. If you go down Louisville Clemens, right by Lowe's Food, you can turn. You're going down Louisville Clemens, like from your house. You can turn
Yeah.
left at Lowe's Food to cut through to which is Stratford. Cut through to Stratford, 158.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking
So
about.
there's instead of going up to the light and turning, you can go through and there's like a stop sign. It's a little bit faster.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, I know exactly
I
what you're
cut
talking
through
about.
there all the time when I go to see Val. So there's a guy going over there, and the dude has, I shit you not, about 50 Trump flags
Really?
in his yard. He has a 12-foot high fence, and then like posters that say something about Trump. I haven't stopped to read them, but it says something about Trump, probably something about election fraud, if I had to guess. And then the guy has like massive, like literally like 50 massive Trump flags hanging over it, like it's like the Royal Trump like palace or something. I'm like, dude, I get it. You voted for Trump. That's fine with me. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna like hate you for whatever, right? That's not what I personally believe. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like the flags, dude, like I'm not getting a good vibe from the 50 flags. Okay, like,
Yeah.
put a
I got
sticker on your car. Okay, but you don't need 50 flags in your front yard. Like,
yeah.
it's
Dude,
a
I'll
little
tell
bit
you
crazy.
in Chapel Hill, like I haven't seen the 50 I haven't seen 50 Biden flags in Chapel Hill, although it wouldn't surprise me. But I did see there's like a road like up there that I like to cut through. And like there's this house and like in the front yard of the house, it's not just like it wasn't just a Biden Harris banner. It was
Yeah.
like a whole ass like maybe like if I'm being conservative, it was like 10 foot by 5 foot banner in their front yard, supported by like they built like a custom big ass wooden frame around it, like a huge fucking like the best way to describe it's like a mini billboard in their front
Wow,
yard with a Biden Harris thing. And I was
that's
like, this is
wild.
Chapel Hill. It's literally the
Yeah,
opposite. It's the opposite of driving west of Clemens. Is
that's
Chapel Hill.
funny. That's funny. Yeah, well, Chapel Hill. I mean, gosh, now I would say it was funny because, right? I mean, at Wake Forest, it's a conservative university, right? Where it has Christian roots and whatnot, and it's still technically religiously affiliated, I think. And a lot of people who go there, like there are a lot of wealthy people who go there, right? And the wealthy people tend to be more conservative, like a lot of them at least, right?
Yeah.
And so it's known as a conservative university. But they did a survey of all the students, and I don't know if maybe there was some response bias. I don't know, but literally it came back. I think like 85% Biden, 10% Trump, and 5% didn't like no preference, like foreign students or something, or like didn't vote or whatever. Like
Yeah.
chose not to respond. Right, none of the above. And I just thought that was wild. I thought it would be more like 30-70. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting, and I was like, okay. So I think that although I would say I think it's interesting, particularly with um, Trump. I think academics are going to go more against him, even if they're more conservative, just because he kind of has a thing against academics. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's not been very supportive of academia.
I think that's yeah. That's just how it is though. With like I feel like usually like academia tends to be more like liberal. So like when you go to college, there's you find or, like anywhere you go somewhere where there's like more educated people, or if you're at somewhere where like a college or a school, you're gonna find more like Democrats, whereas like you go out into the country, you're gonna
Oh
find
yeah,
more
of course.
Republicans. But
Yeah,
yeah, it makes sense. Yo, I
I
was
thought
gonna
it was
say,
funny because my like I don't know. I thought it was funny because my like paleo conservative um, philosophy professor, like really conservative guy, is like super religious, Catholic, and everything, and he always almost always spouts like conservative stuff. Really conservative guy. And the other day, he just like randomly, he never even talks politics. And the other day, he just like randomly like erupted about something that Trump did, and like how he like he hates like the term fake news, and how like he thinks like truth is truth and this and that. He just went on a whole tangent about it, and I was like, dang, that was like 95% sure you were like a Trump supporter and had like a Trump
yeah,
flag in your front yard, and he just went on like this rant about it, and I was like, damn, like this guy is like more conservative than most people I know, right? I mean, he's really like paleo conservative, not even modern conservative, but like
hmm,
a, I don't know, 1900 like Christian priest or something, right? I
yeah,
like the guy, but you know, I just thought it was kind of wild that he interesting.
yeah. No, I think that's interesting. I was gonna say though, like I feel like okay, so like we're about an hour in. So I was thinking about getting to some wrapping up stuff for our first
Yeah,
episode.
sure, go for it.
So I was gonna say so in terms of like stuff for the next one. So I guess we talked about like having a list of stuff to talk about and
Yeah,
um like then we didn't come up with a name yet, right? We still gotta do
right.
that.
So I would maybe say something about Winston. I think Winston's. I don't know.
We could be the Winston boys. Who
The
knows?
Winston
Is that
boys.
a thing? Let me look that up. Just something that we can like rank for on like
Yeah.
oh no, you know what? If we said the we'd be competing against Winston Churchill on all the search engines. I don't know if we would win that one.
Uh, how about the Salem boys?
That might be hmm. I feel like when people hear
Salemite
Salem,
boys.
they think of Oregon.
That's true. Well, you could do
But the Salem boys is a thing already.
Winston, the Salemite boys. We're Winston Salemites. That's the denominator. So you could do the Salemite boys. No one else calls
What
themselves
about the 336?
336 boys.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. I don't know. We sound kind of like a
Oh,
rap group.
son of a bitch! It's a fucking musical group.
Ah, dude, we should we should just become a music group. There we go. Let's do the podcast thing.
What about the Trafo? People like to call us the Trafo, right? I don't even know what that means. I hope I'm not saying something that's like gang related.
I think it's gang related or something, but I don't understand those things. I don't know anything about it. I'm not with pop culture.
All right, you know what? The Winston Boys isn't looking so bad on SEO. I don't know
What's
how many
SEO?
people are like search engine optimization.
Ah,
I don't know
okay.
how many people are Googling Winston Churchill. I feel like what's the top? Okay, the top hit that we're competing against is a book on Amazon called The Winston Brothers, an 8-book series Kindle edition. I think we can beat that.
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe it's a banger of a 8-part series.
you know
Maybe
what?
maybe
You want to try the Winston Boys and then just change
Yeah.
it? I mean, we're not locked in, It's not like we have a
Maybe
huge following.
maybe Winston Boys. Maybe just do Winston Boys.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I think the whoops, I'm leaning back too far. You can't even see me. Um, yeah, I think Winston Boys is a little bit more catchy.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're competing against anyone who's advertising with that name, so I think that's perfect.
I wouldn't expect it. I mean, Winston Boys is not exactly like a seductive product name or anything, or like a good book title or anything, right? It's like
Yeah,
familiar sounding, which is kind of what we're going for. Um,
yeah. Okay.
and yeah, so I think that's a good way to go. And I don't know. I mean, a lot of things that are applicable to Winston are applicable to other places. So just
Yeah,
someone found our channel. I don't necessarily think
yeah.
the
I think it's just like you just get excited that like, oh, these are people who talk about stuff that
yeah.
I'm
I
a part
mean,
of.
I've never heard anyone do that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anyone from Winston who has a YouTube channel or anything.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. And TikTok is gonna go find TikTok finds everyone from Winston. Like
is it
anytime
really?
like yeah, like I remember I looked up hashtag Winston-Salem on TikTok and I looked at all the videos that were on there and all of those had popped up in my feed before. I'd seen all of them. So TikTok went out and found me for every single video with hashtag Winston-Salem in it because
That's
it
funny.
somehow knew I was from Winston-Salem.
Now, the only thing I can think of is yeah, the only content creator I can think of from Winston is what's her name? Grace Krell. I know she has a YouTube channel.
There's probably a few from well,
I
if
don't
you
know anyone else
Google
though.
if you Google Winston-Salem on not Google, if you look it up on YouTube, like there's some videos on there. I think I've seen almost all of them just in like looking around at
That's
what
interesting.
SEO would be. But there's nothing that really has a ton of views. Like it's all like there's one by Wake Forest Graduate School.
The
Or like
locals
yeah,
guy, Winston-Salem. Okay.
yeah. And this is like a short. This is the most viewed video, 13,000 views. But then look at like the next one. It's like 3.7
Yeah.
thousand.
Should you move to Winston-Salem? Jeff Valentino, realtor. Oh wow,
There's a lot of realtors that make
that's interesting.
those videos.
Top 10 things to do in Winston-Salem.
There's
Move.
one where it's like an Indian guy who's like clearly not from Winston-Salem, has never been to it, probably doesn't even know what it actually is. And he's like listing things and behind him are like pictures from like Yelp and stuff. Like he's like the number one thing, like the number one restaurant to go to is like Mellow Mushroom or something like that. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, Mellow
There
Mushroom's
is
pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the number one thing. I really like Nawab actually. It's really grown on me this year. I've eaten a lot of Nawab while I was at Wake this year.
really we know the people. You've probably like met the owners at our house.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, I
always
do.
they're
I'm
always
sure I
there.
have. I'm sure I have. I probably don't remember. No, they have really good
Yeah.
food. I've eaten a lot of.
Bro, you've probably eaten their food at our house. Like we're always eating like or no, at the you were at the
Yeah, you
graduation
guys
party.
always order Nawab, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because yeah, all the Indians know each other. Yeah.
that's really funny. Yeah, I'm sure. No, you guys have definitely ordered it when I've been over. It's really funny.
Yeah.
That's why I went there in the first place. Because I was like, hey, I want some of that good stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess for like next then we can use the name Winston Boys. We can have a
Yeah, we'll do
list of
Winston
stuff.
Boys. Maybe you can put.
Um
I don't know if you want to. If we want to upload the whole thing, we need to make some sort of YouTube channel too. Right?
yeah, I was gonna say I can make the YouTube and the
That's
TikTok
fine.
and then just kinda I mean I don't think we've said anything that would get either of us canceled. So like I feel like we can just put this out there and see what it does. Like
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is the first bit about the whole like talking about what we're gonna do and stuff. I don't know.
I yeah, so that was kind of that's what I was texting you about. That was like my whole idea about
Okay.
like what if we
So
make
you
it so
want it? You
authentic?
want to you want to do that as content? I mean, it's fine with me. I don't care. If you
Yeah.
interested in that, I
I'm just
just
thinking we make it so authentic that it's literally just like
just two
it's
dudes
like
talking.
this is literally just like the two guys like same as like you or whoever is watching like
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah, for sure. So let's just yeah, that's fine. Just keep it in. And yeah, I don't think I said anything too
yeah.
often. Right?
I feel like I haven't we got a little political there, but we didn't say anything.
No,
I
I
mean,
mean,
neither
I
of us
think
are extreme in our political views in the first place, so like
not at all.
I don't think we're gonna say anything. I'm gonna knock on some wood. I don't think we're gonna say anything that would
Dude,
that would be
you
bad.
never know. I've definitely said some things in my life that like I didn't even think were offensive. Like I didn't even think they were like like would offend anyone at all in any possible way, and like apparently it was really wrong, and I was like, oh shoot.
Oh, I
I'm
mean, I definitely have. I just think
like,
after making all those mistakes, I'm not gonna make them again.
I don't know, dude. I have a way sometimes.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we're gonna have hella content next week. Like this
Oh
week,
yeah,
we didn't talk about space. We didn't talk about entrepreneurship at all. Like if we got
dude.
into
Next week
either
we
one
can
of
talk
those,
about the Guardians. Did you hear about that? Now the Space Force is now called Guardians, like Guardians of the
what?
Galaxy.
Oh, this is what I'm saying. We have so much content. Like we didn't touch like either of the topics that we talk about the most. And so like I
Yeah.
feel like this was us just like this is definitely like our like l- least like entertaining point. Like it's only gonna go up
Yeah.
from here.
Well, we had to figure out what we were doing, but I mean, I think we kind of have an idea now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it sounds good to me. And yeah, and maybe next time I think something we could do is just like chat for a few minutes first.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
recording, and then we can kind of start over. I don't know if that makes sense. Like kind of run through some ideas. So maybe like a 5-minute meeting before we start. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'll share the actually
What
wait,
do you want?
I can make the YouTube and the TikTok thing. Can you make a
Okay.
Google Doc and share it with me?
Yeah, for sure. I'll
And
just do it right.
then all right, and then I can we can both just like upload ideas on there. And then if you can
Yeah,
think of a
sure.
way to like categorize them or like
Yeah.
flow, that it's
Yeah.
easy to
And
do.
hey, if anyone who's, if this goes viral,
Yeah.
if you want to put your comments on here and tell us what you want to talk about, feel free.
Yeah. And if you want to be a guest, feel free. There's not a whole lot of
Yeah,
people
because
out there.
we got no guests.
Yeah.
Uh,
Next week it's like, hey, this is my mom. She's also from Winston-Salem.
Dude, my mom don't got time to watch this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I'll see you next week. All right. Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit sooner. I don't know. Maybe like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? We could do like
Or do you yeah, I guess we gotta figure out do you want to do this on Fridays? And then maybe like when it's finals time, we can take a break for like a week or two or whatever. But
yeah, sure.
every Friday. Or
Yeah.
you think Saturdays work better or Fridays?
I mean, I'd say probably Fridays work best, but I don't know. We can always.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
um,
true. I feel like yeah, Fridays for me, like I'm just like so carefree, which I think is a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah, and like by Saturday, it's like, oh, I gotta start doing homework or something.
Yeah. It's like Sunday is about to suck.
Oh man, yeah, I'm stressed out about Sunday by Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
All right.
maybe break we could do twice a week. I don't know. You want to do like, I don't know. What's another good day that works for you? Are you working right now?
I do have some stuff I'm doing during the week. So I
Okay.
don't know I also don't know if like long term I'd be able to like
Oh no, not long term. No, just during the break. I don't know.
yeah. Maybe we could try
I'm just bored.
actually we might be able to try this Wednesday. I think by the like
Okay.
end of the day Wednesday I'm not gonna have
Okay.
because the next day is New Year's Eve
Yeah,
or Christmas
that's
Eve.
true. Okay, let's try our Christmas Eve. Yeah, okay, let's do Wednesday night, if it doesn't work, that's fine. Just shoot me a text.
That's good with me.
Next, okay, yeah, let's do Saturdays. Let's do next Saturday because I probably won't be able to do anything on Christmas.
Oh
Yeah,
shit, yeah, it's Christmas
yeah.
on Friday.
So the 25th is gonna be
Yeah.
yeah. So let's do Saturday
We
again.
can do Saturday next week.
Friday after that.
And then so Wednesday and Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And that's just for right now. I mean, we can cut it later.
Yeah. We can actually we can play Wednesday by ear because I'm also not
Yeah.
100% sure. But Saturday definitely.
Yeah, no shame if you can't make it. No worries.
Yeah.
I'm just bored because so it's kind of funny. I'm supposed to take this class. I'm learning how to do a new protocol over at the hospital on these for the 6 that I'm doing with rats, and so I applied for this. Like, I have to take this class to be cleared to do it because it involves like handling the animals and all. You have to do it humanely and this and that, and it's behavioral. And I'm not qualified. I haven't taken the class for behavioral stuff. And the problem is, I emailed the person today to like let me do the class, and I got an immediate bounce back. That's like, well, I'm out of the office until January like 10th, and I'm like,
Oh no.
that's like right before I go back to school. Like,
Yeah.
4 weeks, and 3 of them are going to be wasted waiting.
maybe you could reach out to someone different who's like in the
I did.
same.
I emailed my guy, my advisor back. I'm like, dude, is there anyone else I can email? Because this isn't good. All right. Well, anyway, I'm
Yeah.
that's board. I'm like, yeah, twice a week sounds good. I got nothing to do.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. I'll
not
try.
really.
I'll let you know like at least the day before.
All right, no worries.
So
All right, well, sounds good. And
yeah.
yeah, maybe just yeah, I'll let you do the uploading, and I will share the Google Doc with you. Okay. Let me know if you need any help with anything. I can always edit something if you
Oh
need me
yeah.
to.
I'll let you know. I feel like for this first one, like we can just put it out there. Like
Yeah.
this is like it's a concept from like the lean startup, which is like what the Bible is to Christians, the lean startup is to entrepreneurs. And
Yeah.
like a big point in that book is like people spend like are you familiar with the concept of like a minimum viable product?
No.
It's like this whole idea that like let's say like your business idea was to invent like I said a car didn't exist and your idea was to invent a car. Well, the idea would be to first create a minimum viable product, which is maybe not like a full car with an AC and a navigation system and leather seats, but just the most bare bones thing you can think of that gets the job
Right.
done, that uses, that automatically takes you from point A to B. And then to put that out there and get some initial customers and then develop from there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. No, I
his
got
whole
you.
thing is in the traditional sense, a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about what belongs in a minimum viable product and putting in certain features to test. And they spend a lot of time debating that stuff and they think they're doing the right thing by putting in that effort on the front end. But he says the problem is that like at the end of the day, you're making assumptions, regardless of how much of an expert you are. You're making assumptions. So his whole thing is like you want to fail really fast. You don't want to wait long to fail and like realize that you spent like the last like week working on something that you could have just put like basically like his whole point is like you like it's okay to put like a really buggy like crappy product out there that gets the job done and then to see what
Right.
things people complain about and
Right.
then to fix those things rather than put a product out there and then like realize that like half the features that you thought needed to be in there didn't need to be in there
So what
and
you're
like
saying is, don't be cyberpunk.
yeah,
There's
yeah, exactly. I'm saying like we don't need the whole editing job. We can just have shitty branding right now,
go
like
for it, dude.
basic ass shit. But if there's
Sounds
something you
like
wanted
me.
to just let me know.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, sounds good. And all right. Well, until next week, then, my friend.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I guess we'll talk over
lovely.
text too.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. See
Yeah.
ya.
All right. Actually, see you this time.